Hello, everyone, and welcome to my summit, How to Raise Your Money Vibration and Embrace a Prosperity Mindset. And I am your host, Cindy Libert, and my guest today is Maria Kletke, who is a master intuitive, and her life experiences includes lessons on how to thrive from financial hardships, overcome success, money and relationship blocks, and manifest ease and flow in her life. She was a licensed financial and real estate consultant who endeavored to assist her clients in using successful financial principles to create personal wealth and experience fulfillment in their lives. She uses her intuitive gifts to focus on creating ease and flow with grace for her clients. For the summit, Maria brings a new awareness on how to prepare for this new year of 2021. Now, Maria is a returning speaker, and last year she challenged our inner child. Now, this year her focus is to encourage us to touch our highest self so that we can truly be participants of the fifth dimension. Maria has a variety of tools to help you discover your true potential, including a 6-week workshop to discover your inner child and an intensive Truest Purpose workshop. So, welcome, Maria.
Hi, how are you? Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you, and I'm doing good. We are going to be talking about igniting your truest passion. And what would you say, Maria, is the ultimate challenges us from planning our lives from 2020 to 2021?
Well, we are facing so many things, so many challenges. And I think the challenges alone is one thing that we're facing on a personal basis every day, is really affecting our mindset. And the fact that our environment is totally different for most of us. We were in an office, we were in a professional environment, we had a schedule and a routine. All of that is gone. And if you look, everything that we know is either changing or is gone. We don't sit down in a restaurant anymore. We have to fall in line differently. We have to do our shopping differently. Everything's so different. Not only that, there's an atmosphere. There's an unconscious consciousness that everyone is creating. All of us are creating this. And what is coming out are emotions that we never had to face before, that we could isolate. Like if there was anger and rioting, it never affected us. We were safe in our environment. And now that's not happening anymore. We are feeling it. We are there. We are seeing it. It's in every factor of our life, economically, politically, financially, socially, religiously. And the other thing that's happening is this upheaval has really changed our brain waves. The way even our brain works now is so different. It doesn't know what to do, just like we don't know what to do. I work with a lot of people who are goal setters and planners. And December, November, they start analyzing their year. They look and they start planning for the new year. And for many of us, we would connect. December ended, none of us we did our analysis somewhat, because there's really nothing to analyze. And we're like trying to analyze the new year and we can't do it. We're stuck, right? And New Year, the first few days of the year, we started calling each other and we're just looking at our calendars. I bought my scheduler planner and I'm just looking at it and I couldn't write anything on it. And I realized that this is the problem. We are still working in the old models. That is the biggest challenge. And the next challenge is, okay, I accept that my model doesn't work. What's the new model? We don't know what to replace it with. So that's the second issue. And those in itself is just a major challenge, major.
Mm-hmm. Wow, true. Well, what are the questions that begs to be answered?
Very good question. I'm glad you asked that. And I think we're very much aware of the one question that showed up in 2019. And that question is, what matters? And we try to answer it. We try to answer it to the best of our ability based on our past experience in 2019. And we know the answer is incorrect or missing, or it needs more development. You know, so we're looking everywhere. That's why people said Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, I matter. Everything is just, you know, we're trying to explain because nothing works anymore. So we say, okay, what matters? What matters is the true question. What really matters is a true question. Now, 2021 is the answer because we figured out I am matters. So now the question is, how do I matter? What do I matter? Why do I matter? And so those are the questions that begs to be answered for 2021. It's so related. We're just moseying in from 2019's what matters into, oh my goodness, I matter. So how do I matter? Which is 2021.
Yeah, those are very important questions for us to consider and think about.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, we're all looking for a better year. Last year, there were so many challenges. It was just unbelievable. And with the COVID still going on and people losing their jobs,
Right.
We're ready to have a good year. So
And I think the good year will materialize, and we will realize that 2020 was necessary. I mean, being a
that's true.
reader and a healer, there's no denial. I also go around with a group of healers and intuitives, and all the signs, the physical signs show that there's no doubt that God or the divine, or however you want to define it, wants their presence known. They want us to recognize they're there beyond the shadow of a doubt. No more, oh, maybe or maybe not, or, you know, it only shows up in church. No, I show up everywhere. I'm in every part of your life, right? The definition, defining ourselves, and I just had a conversation with one of my clients today who's an artist. And we have lived in so many centuries of denying ourselves in so many ways, And we seek solutions that's why science is created. We created science to hide behind it. So we hide behind psychology. We hide behind our diseases and our medicine. And that's how we define ourselves, right? Just so we don't have to face who we really are. Just so we don't really have to connect with our true feelings or true passions. Just so we could say, okay, you know, I've given myself permission. So we say that. I've given myself permission to do something else that I don't really like to do because I need to make a living.
Yes. Well, that kind of leads me to my next question I have for you. What is one's truest passion, and why does it make a difference in our lives at this time?
This time, because there's no hiding anymore. 2020 means true vision and clarity. So, okay, that happened. The lens was cleared, and now we really see who we really are and where we are, right? And so in 2021, our eyes are open. We can't go back anymore to the old us, old me, where I'm hiding behind definitions and labels, okay? So now I have to find out, what is it that I can do? Because we can't make definitions anymore, because we know in 2021, if we define what we're going to do with missions, values is the old way of planning, by the way, goal setting, a timeline, not going to work. Absolutely not going to work. How can you do a timeline when we don't know when we can get out of the house and get it done? And everything else that we rely on to create our goals and allow our goals to happen is also up in the air. You know, like if you have goals for your job that require you, it's insane. It's totally insane. I want to travel this year. I want to go to France and maybe spend 30 days in France. So that's up in the air. I don't know. It may not happen. It may not, you know, so it's so hard to plan, right? The only way we can survive, or actually not survive, be beyond survival, accomplish something this year, is to find out who we really are, what really drives us, what is it, and then go beyond that. Because we're always taught that in many of the classes for motivation and finding ourselves. We're always trying to define what it is, and we have a hard time with it because we're using other people's definition of success, definition of defining yourself, and we can't do that anymore. The only way we can really define ourselves is to find our highest purpose, what we were really designed for in this earth. And it's unique to each and every one of us. Cindy, what you're supposed to do on the highest level that God had, the mission that God created for you when you were born, is so different than mine. And I cannot define myself based on what your mission is. But we have hidden from that. We are learning last year and this year that we have to go back to who we really, our spirit, our spiritual side, discover that again. And so many have, and so many feel lost in it because of years of denial. And even our own society denies that. You know, we don't know if it exists or doesn't exist. And it is not isolated to the United States. This is all over the world. And that many people are not in touch with what their truest passion or purpose is. And the next step to that is, once you find that, is to put the fire underneath it, to make it what we used to define a burning desire. This is a burning passion. It goes beyond desire, because true passion includes the mission. It includes the divine, the work of the divine, the inspiration that comes from the divine. It just cannot come from within ourselves. And it makes a difference, because we will not have the will to pursue this year, to finish this year, to share our lives with others and give to others, unless we have that. Because we will feel like we have nothing to give. We will feel like we won't make a difference in this world, and which is not true. Each and every one of us will make a significant difference in the world this year and in the following years, because that's what the ultimate mission of God is to really allow all of us to be as one, to vibrate at a very high level, where we are living in his purpose. There's no denying that anymore. I myself will tell you that I have kind of lived under the radar of that. I'm like, okay, I'm following God's purpose, but I'm not really talking about it. I'm not really announcing that that's what I'm going to do. Or I'm not really announcing that that's the purpose that the Lord has for me, or God has for me, or the higher intelligence has for me. But now I can't do that anymore. I have to speak it. I have to say, hey, this is what God wants us to do. This is what God wants me to say. And if you've known me even just 2 years ago, you wouldn't think that I would come out and say it like that. That's why it makes the difference in our lives. And that's why it matters.
I love how you mentioned about finding our truest passion. And even though sometimes that we can still struggle as entrepreneurs, sometimes we do stay right under the radar. And now, as 2021 opens up and it's a new year, just like you said, finding our truest passion and including God or divine in our lives to bring that, to flourish it, we have to rely on his strength to get us through the rough times.
Right.
Yeah. And,
Absolutely.
sometimes we struggle along in our business, but if we just keep moving forward and hang on to that hope and faith, then doors will start to open up
Absolutely.
and we'll be guided in what direction we need to do. And one thing that I've learned is that what I plan on doing is bringing more joy into my business and having fun with it. I was so locked into working hard and helping as many people as I can, and just completely forgot about my truest passion is doing it with love and understanding and joy. And so, yay! I did learn my lessons too through the last year.
Sharing that, and that's really part of it, is to share the joy, to share what you're learning with others. And we're all learning. We're all in different paths. We're all learning different things, and we do need to share it with each other.
Yes.
Because that is
Yes.
part of the joy. The joy of what we are learning in this life is part of the joy that we need to share.
Yes.
Thank you for that. That was awesome.
Oh, thank you. Well, who is in control of our destiny now?
Okay, I love this question because I live this. Okay, where I want to be in control. I am one of those controlling women. I want to control everything in my life. And so ever since I was a child, I wanted to control everything in my life. I controlled what I wear. At a very young age, you couldn't make me wear things if I didn't want to wear it, so on and so forth. And so when, as an adult, I wanted to control my destiny. I wanted this type of success, this kind of wealth, this kind of health, da 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 da, on and on and on and on. It's not a bad thing, just so our listeners know. Having the drive to be in control allows you to pursue, gives you the drive to go on. Otherwise you'll give up, right?
Right.
And in 2019, up to 2019, God took the back seat. Just go ahead. It's your will. You can do whatever you want. I'm just going to watch you in a neutral state. And God is neutral, by the way. Whether you do bad or good, you're going to learn the consequences of doing good as well as bad. And that's how we've lived our lives. And that's not happening anymore. God said, oh no, I'm changing seats now. I'm not happy being in the back. I'm now in partial control. So now he's our co-pilot now, more than ever. And I have personally experienced this. I really can share this with you that in 2019, everything that I planned to expand my business, to bring people light more. I'm doing essential oils and healing and doing workshops to help people. So I am helping people. And you think that it would be easy for me to do that since I already am helping people. But it was so hard because I had this plan. I was in control. I was going to do this marketing plan. I was going to so on and so forth. Nothing happened. And people would come to me who are successful in doing a particular model. This is why I know models don't work anymore. I say, this model worked for us as a healer. You do this, 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 and this. You write a book, you do this, you do this, you do this. And and I've always asked the question, why? Why do I need to write a book? Why do I need to go on Instagram, da, 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 da? And then the next question is how? Okay, if I am supposed to write a book and you answered why I need to write a book, how do I write that book? What needs to be in it? How do I attract people with that? How do I accomplish my purpose doing what you asked me to do? Sometimes they can answer it somewhat and sometimes not. And when I tried it, it wouldn't work. Time and time again, last year, I really put a lot of effort in it because I felt that there was a need. A very big need. And I was right. There really is a very big need. Finally, I reached that point where I was so frustrated. And I had my conversation with God, which is part of the workshop that we have, where you are really talking, just like you and I are talking, Cindy. And I listened which is another part of the workshop that I'm putting together. And I heard the voice in my head say, surrender. Let me take care of marketing. You take care of helping them. I'll take care of marketing. I go, really? Why? Because I'm talking to an unseen person, you know? It might be God, but I don't know, you know? I'll be honest. But I said, okay. And then he said, you need to trust me. Boy, was he asking for a lot. Not only am I supposed to relinquish my marketing strategy to him, I had to trust him. And he says, don't do anything. You just wait. And this is in a conversation. And I'm telling you, it's just the toughest one, because even if it was a person, it's already tough. But an unseen supreme being, it's tough. But the moment I completely let go, within 2 days, I had clients one after the other. I had, and then the strategical what strategy he wanted me to take would unfold. It would just unfold. People would show up. Two marketing geniuses showed up and said, hey, this is what we're going to do to take you to the next step. And it was nothing like what other people were telling me to do. And I was like, wow. And I had a question. I said, well, how do I do this? Next day, answer shows up in someone else. You know, the angel, I call them human angels, but it's so amazing whatever I needed. And I said, you know, I was asked to lower my prices, my healing prices. And I'm like, well, I can do that, but I need money to survive. He goes, don't worry, I got it. And 3 days later, something else shows up in my doorstep from my financial business that I had retired from 4 years ago. And it showed up as a complete package. All I needed to do was put it together and it was off. And it covered all that I gave away and more.
Wow,
so
beautiful.
This will happen to all of us. All of us. There is no more worry. We worry so much because we want to be in control. We want to create things ourselves. We leave God out of it.
Mm-hmm.
We leave God out of it. And that's not the way to do it. You know, God is not a fixture in your wall. It's not a picture. He wants to be a real part of our lives. And we are given that choice still. But now the consequences are multiplied tenfold. So if he is not, and you are not going to succeed, you're really going to know it. You're really going to know what the difference is. And the moment you surrender and say, okay, on this particular, and I'm not saying that for your strategy, Cindy, you have a strategy that you have to do what I do. No, it's different. Every conversation is still unique, and you will only be the one to know it. I am helping some people, some of my clients, with this conversation. I cannot interfere with the conversation. I can only encourage it. And the conversations are coming out different. What they have to do is different. Even the degrees of what they need to do is different. So we are not in control full 100% anymore. And we have to accept that. And then we have to find a way to communicate with our God partner, God who is our partner.
Yes.
And that's so important. So that's why that's part of the workshop that I created for the 20th.
Yeah, oh, beautiful. I know sometimes, speaking of myself, I got so busy that I forgot to let go and turn it over to higher power, to divine, to show me what it is that I need to do in order to be successful. We have to
know it too, right?
let go, get out of our head,
right,
and more into our heart.
And you know it, you can feel it because you feel so agitated. That feeling of being at peace and in the flow disappears. And you go, why am I so agitated? Why is everything that I'm doing not working? And then that's the time you really have to take a step back and go, oh my God, I forgot to consult my partner.
There you go. Well, kind of on the same thing, but turning a little bit of twist, because I know this is very important also, and that's about forgiveness. Why is forgiveness an integral step in finding one's truest passion?
I'm glad you asked that question. And this is a hint. The only reason Cindy can ask that question is she read my article and the information. Otherwise, she would never know that that was part of the whole process. Forgiveness is so important because we have to create space in our whole being, in our spiritual self, in our soul, in our life, in our personhood. We need to create space for God to make his presence known. We need to create space so we can listen and hear the messages that are coming in. But more, what happens is if we cannot forgive ourselves, this is the first person we forgive, is ourselves. And this is the hardest one. We can forgive. I have people that come, they said, I've forgiven everyone. I said, what about yourself? And they're so quiet. They go, there's nothing to forgive. I go, really? Is there really nothing to forgive? I said, come on. I said, and then we can just, and then they start tearing up because they have denied themselves forgiveness. I can ask one question, and if you can answer this, this will tell me, or tell you actually, you don't need to tell me, if you've forgiven yourself or not. So the question is, actually it's a twofold question, is are you deserving of everything that is good that's happening in your life right now? Do you feel you deserve it? Absolutely feel you deserve it. Do you deserve more if more were to come? If bushels of whatever it is you want came, like you got so much love from the world that you could hardly contain it, do you feel you deserve it? And will you receive it? Will you receive it without guilt? That is the question that begs to be answered, that tells you what level of forgiveness, self-forgiveness you have. And if there's any part of you that kind of twinges or goes like this, it's not like this, then you have not fully finished the process of self-forgiveness. Forgiving ourselves makes us very young. It keeps us young. You could be 80 years old and you will look like you're 40 when you have totally forgiven every part of yourself, past, present, and future. I mean, if you want to go into past lives, you can do that as well. Forgive yourself in past life if you believe in that. Now, if you don't, and you become very bitter, you could be 40 and look like 80. And that explains why so many people that we know, you go, how come they look so old? They're only 50, they look like they're 80, because they're very bitter usually.
Wow.
Usually there's a lack of self-forgiveness. You can't forgive others if you can't forgive yourself. It really works hand in hand. And you can't allow the divine into your life. You can't manifest things. So you are like, it's like a vicious circle. And you just go, why? Nothing happens for me anyway. Why should I even bother? Blah, 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 blah. This is why, in order for the truest purpose to show itself, in order for passion to be ignited, we need to forgive ourselves. And it's very much part of the step that we're going to do.
Wow, wonderful. I love that. Well, Maria, tell us, what programs do you offer to help us understand our inner child issues?
Okay. Well, the program that I had was, and actually that question should also probably add, it's probably the question I So the inner child program that I have, first I will start offering the free inner child class again. I think it's supposed to be a 45-minute class, but it's a mini workshop. So it ends up, depending on how many people there are, it could be a 2-hour workshop. Not recorded because it's very private, and everyone's experience, we don't really want to advertise it. Everyone's experiences.
Sure.
We just want to let them know that there's such a workshop that will help you discover who your inner child is. And then we go into the archetypes, and that's a 6-week workshop if you want to go there. But I created that 2-hour workshop session to allow you to begin your journey. And if you wanted to just go on your journey and not do the archetypes, you still can, but it'll just take you longer. But also for this particular talk, which is preparing us for the 2021, finding our truest passion, I do have a intensive workshop. And all we're doing is exercise after exercise. And I do encourage people to take notes. I probably will create some videos that will allow them to recreate or revisit the exercises, because this preparation for 2021 is also a journey. I mean, forgiveness, you may have the opportunity to forgive yourself in one sitting, but things show up. It's like a layer of onion. So there are more things show up and more forgiveness has to happen. And then, so it becomes a process, an ongoing process. The process of learning how to communicate better with our higher self and our God is also a process. We can't expect to be able to, it's just like a baby. They learn how to talk and communicate. We're babies when it comes to communicating with God on his level, on his language. That's why we're talking about a higher vibration. Higher vibration, which is 5th dimension, is the spirit. It's the realm of the spirit. Scientifically proven as the space between. That's the definition. The space between, and the space between equals potential. And it's in our body, it's in space, it's in every matter. So how do we live in that dimension is to be in the spirit, to be in that level, to be in that vibration. And that's like a process that we must willingly undertake. So this is a 3-hour workshop. There's no follow-up. There's no breaking it down. We will see what happens, but I believe once you already know how to do it, you just continue the process. And maybe I will find ways to allow that to happen. And this is something that I'm offering it for really, really low, because I really want people to participate in this new world that's being created. So from now until the 17th, it's $32. After that, it's $50. The number 5 is significant because this year is also the number 5, which is significant. It's both transformation and finishing things. So there's a lot about the number 5. We will also talk about that in the workshop very briefly, though. But you can really discover what number 5 is by going onto Google. There's so many people talking about what 5 means, what 221 means, because it's an angel number, what 202 means, which is another angel number, and 220, but it's really 221. That is the true message if you're looking at angel numbers. But there are so many outward signs, physical signs, even using astrology, astronomy, science, that tells us what is happening in our world, in our realm, in our universe, and where it needs to go. And so the programs that I created, the inner child, and even this particular passion plus, it's called Passion Plus Fire Workshop. Wow.
Wonderful. It sounds
Yeah.
very, very good.
It's I think it's very, very good. I was this is a download. This is now
Wow.
this is created in partnership. I merely wrote it down.
Hmm. Wow. See, you listened.
Yeah, it's just part of the listening process, and it's ongoing. My listening is ongoing, and I really encourage you to be there and share it with the world. That's really what the purpose of it is
Okay.
to be there and share it. And thank
Yeah.
you so much for the opportunity to share this message, Cindy. I'm
Oh,
really
you're
excited.
welcome. Well, Maria, tell us about your free gift that you have to offer to everyone. And I know you serve people all over the world. So thank
Oh,
you
thank
for the
you. I
work that
forgot
you do.
about the free gift. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the free gift is the article that I had shared with you.
Mhm.
It talks about what we just talked about, the questions that
Okay.
matter, the 5 steps to begin the process. Now, this is the lecture part. So if you're going to attend the workshop, I really urge you to read this because I want to get working, because to lecture is just for you to listen and not do anything. But we don't, this is a doing thing. We need to do it. And so I would really want to bring people into this workshop and start doing. You know, after the introductions are done, boom, we go to work right away. So the article is my free gift, and I really hope you join.
Wonderful.
That's why the workshop. That's why I lowered it way so much, and it's on the 20th from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah, it's a beautiful article. Thank you for sharing that.
You're
And
welcome.
for viewers who want to have more information about you, Maria, and your free gift will be right below the video. Then click on a button that will take them to your free gift and your social media information. And people can find you at mkhealing.com.
Yes, that's my
Great,
healing
great.
site. You can also go to my landing page, which allows you to go to the other things that I do, which is Marie Kletke, KLETKE.com. And you'll find me everywhere. I mean, Instagram, Facebook. Um, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I believe my email's right there, right? It's marie@mariekletke.com. Feel free to email me and connect with me. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you.
Thank you. And thank you for your time and your effort and the beautiful work that you do.
Thank you so
And
much.
I'm sure we'll be hearing from you again in the future, and especially with your programs that are coming up. So,
Well, I love you all. Thank you. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much.
namaste.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
That was cool.